coach using the soft word publicly. Belichick was asked about this by our friend Pat in his Monday appearance, and I don't believe Pat will have an issue with us just saying, let's play it. This is his response to his former player and longtime member of his coaching staff and successor, calling these players, many of whom Belichick coached last year, soft.
I'm kind of hurt for those guys because to call them soft, they're not soft. They were the best team in the league last year against the run. And those guys went out there and did it, even though we couldn't score many points offensively. So, I don't know. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough group. I mean, John Jones, Godshaw, Wise, Jennings, those are all Uche. Those guys are all tough players. Like they'll strap it up and go. Duggar, I mean, they're tough guys.
And I'll just say this. I mean, he's not ducking it, and he's just shooting you straight. That's what helps when you got all those rings and all that, knowledge, and certainly about the roster. He's not just turning it down. He's telling you what it is. Same guys.
Yeah, same guys. Yeah, and Mayo, in the last few weeks, it's taking veiled shots at Bill about maybe, Bill didn't leave him the greatest roster. And it's like, well, they re-signed a lot of the guys that Bill had drafted, and a lot of the guys on the number one run D from last year are on the team this year. It's been tough watching Jerod Mayo coach these first 7 games, and hope he gets better. Certainly he's not going to be one and done or anything. So learn, improve, get better each week. But man, every time they show him on the sideline, I think of what could have been having Mike Vrabel there instead.
Dude, Vrabel, some of the most popular people on the planet are coaches you didn't hire and the second string quarterback, right?
True.
Right? And I mean, you talk to some of the Ohio State friends, and I won't bring this up with Terry McLaurin. He's going to zoom in shortly. A lot of them want Vrabel. Vrabel's going to be a guy in demand.
Yeah.
So will Bill, I imagine, if Bill wants to coach again.
I imagine.
But that said, part of the reason why they might not be as good of a run defensive team, the quarterback spot last year is pretty dreadful, too. I was going to sit there and say that, these guys are getting put back on the field after 3 and outs. Last year was no great shakes either.
Last year, no, not at all.
Right?
No. I think the frustrating thing for Pats fans, too, is like the process of Mayo was named coach in waiting years ago. They didn't interview anybody else. They didn't even bring Mike or anybody else in for a chat. It was just like, Bill is gone and Jerod's the head coach. And you're just kind of, as a fan, you're like, okay, why? What has he done to earn it? There was no transparency. It was just frustrating. And now you're kind of seeing it and you're just like, okay, look, we knew the roster was less than and we weren't going to win a lot of games this year and a total rebuild. Understand that. But some of the things he says in the media and the sideline demeanor, you're just like, does he know we're playing a game? Like, what is going on right now?
Well, again, sideline demeanor where you're not demonstrative works when you win. When you lose, it looks like you don't have a pulse.
Yeah.
Joe Torre had no demeanor other than just like sitting there and chewing his jaw and sitting with Don Zimmer, probably talking about the ponies in between innings. True. And just and if the Yankees were losing, you'd be like, do you have a pulse? But if you're winning, you're like, oh, that guy's just, he's calm. You never know if you're up or you're down. And again, you're viewed differently. You're looked at differently when you don't have a quarterback either. No coach looks good without a quarterback.
Yes, well, that seems to have been solved. That problem is
and again, so
fixed.
We will see moving forward as Drake May continues to show improvement every single week, which is by the way good for him and the staff that you're seeing improvement.
Yep, it's just everyone else around him.
And we'll see how the soft comment lands, because in come the Jets, who have lost 4 in a row.
Yep.
And one thing that Belichick loved to do and was outstanding at was sticking it to the Jets just when they were down and made them worse. Yep. Seeing ghosts, etc. So on and so forth. And so he's challenged his team to be less soft publicly as the Jets come in on a 4-game loser and absolutely in dire straits. And the one way to get rid of all what we're talking about right now and what's being probably discussed and burned up on the 24/7, sports talk right now in the New England area, with them coming in on a 6-game losing streak, is to mess up the Jets and Rodgers even worse and do to them what they did to Cincinnati somehow in week 1. Yeah. But we'll see how the soft comment lands.
Yeah.
But right now,
I want the best draft pick possible, but I mean, they can win the next 2 games. Jets have 2 wins, Titans have 1 win, and they
need a win. Certainly, people are talking about is Jerod Mayo the guy already. You know what I mean?
It's being talked about.
I know. Yeah. And Belichick going on McAfee's show and saying, "Hey, these guys were top run defense in the league last year." So, he's not saying it, but I'll say it. The offense wasn't that great last year either. So you can't sit here and say, well, they were 3 and out and back on the field. They were pretty damn good last year. So right now they're not. You're calling those guys soft. So whose fault is it?
Right. Was
the 100% unsaid portion of what Belichick said on Pat's show today.
Absolutely.
And so we'll see because I imagine is there a Manning cast tonight?
There is a Manning cast.
So we'll see if they want to follow up on that. I don't know. But for sure. But just take a look at how coaches who don't have quarterbacks are perceived. Mike McDaniel over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Went from genius to Tua's got to come back because Tyreek Hill didn't have a target in the first half. It's like, hey, Snoop, that's number 10 out there. Target him. Kevin Stefanski, 2-time coach of the year. People are like, what are you doing there? Before, Deshaun got carted off. I'll be honest. I'll shoot you straight. How about my college head coach? Where a lot of guys in my world are like, is Sharon the guy? Well, he doesn't have a quarterback, with all due respect to the kids that are trying.
Right.
I mean, coaches do not look great when they don't have one. You guys drafted one. You now have one. And on defense, they've been called soft. So I understand you want the top draft choice, but you could use the W in New England. With the Jets coming in, this is the week to do it.
It'd be nice just to see it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.